There are moments in life when you look around and ask, how did I end up here? You didn't plan this pressure. You didn't ask for this struggle. You didn't choose this season of confusion. Yet here you are standing in a difficult situation that seems too heavy, too unfair, too painful. But hear this clearly today. You are not here by accident. Sometimes God does not move you into comfort. He moves you into capacity. He places you in situations that stretch you because favor requires strength, and strength is not built in ease. You thought the difficulty meant you were forgotten, but the truth is, you were selected because favor does not arrive in loud celebrations. Favor often shows up disguised as pressure, delay, rejection, and closed doors. You're asking God to remove the problem, and God is saying, if I remove it too soon, you'll miss what it's producing. The difficult place is where your faith matures. The tight place is where your vision sharpens. The painful place is where your purpose rises. If it was easy, everyone could handle it. But it was assigned to you because you have the strength to survive it. Don't confuse delay with denial. Just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it won't happen at all. While you're waiting, God is working, aligning the right time, the right people, and the right breakthrough. You don't see the progress because it's happening inside you first. Every tear you cried is watering something. Every prayer you whispered is activating something. Every time you stood when you wanted to quit, something shifted in your favor. The situation that tried to crush you is actually shaping you. What was meant to stop you is positioning you. What feels like pressure is unlocking power. Stay standing. Stay faithful. Stay believing, especially when it's hard, because when favor comes, it will make sense of everything you went through. One moment of divine favor can outweigh years of struggle. So don't give up in the difficult place. This is not the end. This is the setup. Difficulty is not punishment. It is positioning. Many people assume that when life becomes hard, something has gone wrong, that they must have missed a step, made a mistake, or fallen out of favor. But difficulty does not automatically mean disobedience. Sometimes it means alignment. There are seasons when God allows pressure not because you are weak, but because you are ready. What feels like an attack is often an assignment. You are not being pushed back. You are being placed forward, even if it does not feel that way yet. Think about how growth really happens. Muscles do not grow when they are comfortable. They grow when they are stretched, strained, and challenged. In the same way, purpose does not develop in ease. Character is not formed in applause. Strength is revealed when resistance shows up. The difficult situation you are in is not designed to destroy you, but to position you for something greater than where you have been. If the pressure is intense, it is because the calling is significant. When life tightens around you and options seem limited, it is easy to believe you are trapped. But sometimes limitation is the very thing that focuses you. When there are too many doors open, we wander. When the path narrows, we learn how to walk with clarity and conviction. God uses narrow spaces to strip away distractions, to remove dependencies that cannot go where you are going. What you are losing in this season may be the weight that was slowing you down. Difficulty also exposes what is real. In comfortable seasons, it is easy to say you trust, believe, and hope. But pressure reveals the depth of your faith. When you are forced to stand without guarantees, without immediate answers, and without visible support, something authentic rises within you. You begin to discover that your strength was never in your circumstances. It was in your connection to God all along. This situation did not create the strength. It revealed it. There are levels you cannot access without resistance. Certain doors only open when you have been tested. Favor requires maturity, and maturity comes through experience. If everything came easily, you would arrive unprepared for the weight of the blessing. That is why some prayers are answered through process instead of instant results. The delay is not neglect, it is development. God is positioning you so that when favor finds you, it will not crush you. What feels like being overlooked is often concealment. Sometimes God hides you in difficult places to protect you while you grow. Not everyone needs to see the process. Some preparation happens in silence, away from recognition. When the time is right, what was developed in obscurity will be revealed with power. The struggle was shaping your capacity to sustain what is coming. So do not rush to escape the difficulty. Do not label the struggle as failure. Ask instead what it is producing in you. Every challenge is adjusting your posture, strengthening your foundation, and aligning you with purpose. You are not behind, you are being positioned. When the season shifts, you will realize that the hard place was not the enemy. It was the doorway to favor. Favor is often hidden inside frustration, and that truth challenges the way we naturally think. When things are not working, when progress feels slow, when doors refuse to open no matter how hard you push, frustration sets in. It makes you question your ability, your timing, and sometimes even your purpose. But frustration is not always a sign to quit. Many times, it is evidence that you are closer than you realize. Resistance does not show up where nothing matters. It appears where something valuable is being guarded. There are moments when you do everything right and still feel stuck. You prepared, you prayed, you planned, and yet the situation refuses to move. That kind of frustration is heavy because it attacks your patience and your confidence at the same time. But frustration has a hidden function. It forces you to look deeper. When the surface solution fails, you are pushed to search for wisdom, to grow beyond what you already know, and to depend on God in a more mature way. What feels like delay is often direction. The door you are struggling with feels heavy because it carries weight. Light doors do not protect valuable rooms. If the resistance is strong, it is because what lies ahead is significant. Frustration is not meant to make you bitter. It is meant to make you better. It stretches your endurance and sharpens your discernment. You begin to understand that success is not just about arrival, but about who you become while you are pressing forward. In seasons of frustration, it is tempting to compare your journey with others. You see people advancing while you feel stationary. But comparison blinds you to the unique work happening in your life. What looks like a setback may be a setup that requires precise timing. Favor is not random, it is intentional. It arrives when you are ready to carry it without losing yourself. Frustration slows you down just enough to strengthen your foundation. Frustration also exposes motives. When progress stalls, you are forced to ask why you want what you want. Is it for validation, security, or control? Or is it aligned with purpose? When motives are purified, favor flows more freely. What you thought was an obstacle was actually a filter, removing what cannot sustain the next level of responsibility and influence. There is also a refining power in frustration. It burns away entitlement and replaces it with gratitude. When you finally break through, you appreciate the victory differently because you remember the cost. The struggle teaches you humility, empathy, and patience. These are qualities that allow favor to remain, not just arrive. Many people reach opportunities they are not prepared to keep. Frustration prepares you to hold what you prayed for. Do not despise the season that challenges your patience. Stay committed even when progress feels invisible. Every attempt, every prayer, every moment of perseverance is building momentum you cannot yet see. Favor often enters quietly after frustration has done its work. One day the door will open, and when it does, you will realize that the resistance was not punishment, it was protection, shaping you for the blessing waiting on the other side. God uses tight places to reveal true strength, even though our first instinct in pressure is to look for escape. When space becomes limited and options begin to disappear, fear tries to convince us that we are trapped. But a tight place is not always a dead end. Often it is a defining moment. When you cannot rely on convenience, comfort, or familiar support, you are forced to discover what is really inside you. Strength that remains hidden in open spaces is revealed when the walls close in. In wide seasons, it is easy to move without intention. You can avoid discipline, delay decisions, and lean on shortcuts. But in a tight place, there is no room for pretense. Every step matters. Every choice carries weight. You learn how to stand without excess and how to move with precision. Pressure strips life down to what is essential. What cannot sustain you falls away, and what remains becomes your foundation. Tight places teach you how to trust beyond sight. When resources are limited and answers are unclear, faith is no longer theoretical. It becomes necessary. You stop relying on what you can control and begin leaning into what you cannot explain. In those moments, you realize that your strength was never in your plans, but in God's presence with you. The tight place does not weaken faith, it clarifies it. Many people discover abilities in struggle that comfort never demanded. You learn how to pray with urgency, how to think creatively, and how to endure quietly. Strength is not always loud or aggressive. Sometimes it is the quiet decision to keep going when quitting would be easier. Sometimes it is the courage to remain consistent when there is no applause. The tight place teaches you perseverance, and perseverance builds unshakable strength. It is in restricted seasons that identity becomes clear. When titles, resources, and recognition are removed, you are left with who you truly are. This can be uncomfortable, but it is also freeing. You realize that your worth was never dependent on external validation. The tight place reveals that you are stronger than the labels you once depended on. It teaches you to stand rooted instead of inflated. Tight places also prepare you for leadership and responsibility. Anyone can manage abundance, but few can handle scarcity with wisdom. The lessons learned in restriction develop discernment, patience, and resilience. These qualities are essential for sustaining favor. Without them, success can become overwhelming. The tight place builds the capacity to carry weight without collapsing under it. Do not misunderstand the season that feels confining. It is not meant to suffocate you. It is meant to shape you. Just as pressure forms diamonds, resistance refines strength. What feels uncomfortable now is producing stability later. When the space opens again, you will move differently. You will walk with confidence, humility, and clarity, because the tight place revealed what you are truly made of. Delay does not mean denial, even though waiting can feel like rejection. When time stretches longer than expected and answers seem slow to arrive, it is easy to assume that the door has been closed. But delay is often a sign that something is being carefully prepared. What feels like silence is not absence. Just because you cannot see movement does not mean nothing is happening. Some of the most important work happens out of sight. Waiting tests patience in a way that action never can. When you are moving, you feel productive. When you are waiting, you feel powerless. But waiting is not passive. It is an active season of alignment. During delay, timing is being refined, details are being adjusted, and connections are being arranged. You may feel overlooked, but you are not forgotten. The pause exists because what is coming requires precision, not haste. Delay also protects you from premature arrival. There are blessings that look attractive, but become burdens if they arrive too early. If the answer came instantly, it might place you in a position you are not yet equipped to handle. Waiting develops wisdom, humility, and discernment. It allows growth to catch up with desire. What you want may be good, but what you need is readiness. Delay creates that readiness. In waiting seasons, inner work takes priority over outward progress. Character is strengthened, motives are purified, and endurance is built. You learn how to remain faithful without immediate reward. This kind of faith is deep and stable. It is not dependent on constant affirmation or quick results. When the door finally opens, you step through with maturity instead of anxiety. Delay teaches trust on a deeper level. It challenges your need for control and forces you to release timelines you thought were fixed. You begin to understand that purpose is not just about destination, but about development. The waiting season stretches your perspective. You stop rushing outcomes and start valuing process. What once felt like wasted time becomes essential preparation. There is also a strengthening of vision in delay. When you wait long enough, distractions lose their appeal. You become more focused on what truly matters. Temporary options no longer satisfy long-term purpose. Delay sharpens commitment. Those who remain after the waiting are those who are meant to walk into what is next. What falls away during delay was never meant to go forward with you. Do not allow waiting to convince you that the answer is no. Sometimes the answer is simply not yet. Stay faithful in the space between promise and fulfillment. Keep showing up, keep believing, and keep preparing. When the moment arrives, it will be clear that the delay was not a denial. It was divine timing working in your favor. Your test is creating your testimony, even when the process feels unbearable. In the middle of a trial, it rarely feels meaningful. Pain does not announce its purpose while you are experiencing it. All you can feel is the weight, the confusion, and the exhaustion. But tests are never just about survival. They are about transformation. What you are walking through is shaping a story that will one day speak louder than your words ever could. A test exposes pressure points in your life. It reveals where fear lives, where faith is thin, and where strength must grow. These moments are uncomfortable because they force honesty. You cannot pretend when you are under strain. The test strips away illusion and leaves you face to face with reality. Yet it is in that honest place that growth begins. The struggle is refining you even when you feel worn down. Many people want a testimony without a test, but strength without struggle is shallow. The credibility of your future voice is being formed now. One day, when you speak encouragement, it will not be theory, it will be lived experience. People will listen not because you sound convincing, but because you understand pain from the inside. Your test is giving weight to your words. Tests also stretch endurance. You learn how to keep moving when motivation fades. You learn discipline when emotions fluctuate. This kind of resilience cannot be taught. It must be developed. The trial trains you to stand firm when circumstances are unstable. It builds a depth that comfort never could. When the season changes, you will carry that strength forward. In the middle of a test, it is easy to feel isolated. You may feel like no one understands what you are going through. But tests often happen in private so that growth can be personal. Not every process needs an audience. Some transformations are meant to happen quietly. What is built in silence will speak powerfully in time. Your test also reshapes your perspective. What once seemed important begins to lose its grip. You learn the value of peace, integrity, and perseverance. You begin to measure success differently. These shifts prepare you for the responsibility that comes with influence and favor. Without this refinement, success can become hollow. Do not rush the test or resent it. It is not meant to break you. It is meant to prepare you. One day you will look back and realize that what felt like the hardest season became the foundation of your strength. Your survival will become your story. Your endurance will become evidence. And your test will become the testimony that gives others hope. Favor comes to those who stay standing, especially when everything around them suggests they should give up. Endurance is not glamorous. It does not draw applause or attention. Most of the time it happens quietly in moments when no one is watching and encouragement feels far away. Staying standing means choosing faith when doubt is loud, choosing consistency when results are slow, and choosing hope when circumstances feel heavy. This kind of strength is not accidental, it is intentional. Many people start strong, but favor is not attracted to beginnings alone. It responds to persistence. There will always be moments when quitting feels justified, when walking away seems reasonable, and when giving up appears easier than pressing forward. But favor often waits beyond the point of comfort. It shows up after the temptation to stop has been resisted. Staying standing is not about denying pain. It is about refusing to let pain define the outcome. Standing requires inner resolve. It means anchoring yourself to purpose rather than emotion. Feelings fluctuate, but commitment stabilizes. When motivation fades, discipline carries you. When confidence shakes, belief sustains you. Staying standing is a daily decision, sometimes a moment, by moment choice, to remain faithful even when progress is invisible. This consistency builds spiritual and emotional muscle that prepares you for favor. There are seasons when standing feels lonely. Support may decrease, and understanding may be limited. In those moments, it is easy to question whether endurance is worth the cost. But standing in isolation develops integrity. You learn how to remain true without external validation. This kind of strength cannot be borrowed. It must be built. Favor rests on those who can stand without leaning on approval. Staying standing also refines perspective. You begin to see challenges as temporary rather than permanent. You learn to interpret setbacks as lessons rather than losses. This shift changes how you respond to adversity. Instead of reacting with fear, you respond with wisdom. Favor flows more easily to those who have learned how to manage pressure without losing balance. Endurance prepares you for responsibility. Blessings carry weight, and only those who have learned how to stand under pressure can sustain them. Without endurance, favor can overwhelm. Staying standing ensures that when opportunity arrives, you are stable enough to hold it. The struggle has strengthened your foundation, making room for growth rather than collapse. Do not underestimate the power of simply remaining. You do not have to be perfect. You just have to be faithful. Every time you choose not to quit, something within you strengthens. Favor notices consistency. It responds to resilience. In time, what you endured will be outweighed by what you receive. Stay standing because favor often arrives quietly. Right after you decide not to sit down or walk away,